Welcome back, my lovely darlings, to my channel. Today we're going to talk about confidence. I think one of those things when it comes to not only elegance, but when it comes to woman and like life as a lady, I think confidence is very important in our life. To actually feel confident, it can be quite hard, can be quite difficult. Sometimes we can lose it, sometimes we can gain it more. But overall, I think being in this kind of sweet spot when we feel confident with ourselves, when we know we can achieve anything in our life, because that's the confidence as well, we giving towards ourselves, is very, very important. And I was thinking that not only about fashion, but we're going to start talking about things that are important as well as the mental, like a development. And confidence, I think it's one of those kind of important things, because without confidence, without being confident, you can't really move forward much. If you feel like you can achieve anything in your life, you can really achieve anything, you know, there is no boundaries for you. And if you are confident towards your work, towards your goals, eventually you're going to achieve them. But if you have this kind of moments that, okay, I'm confident now, but a few months later you feel like, okay, I'm not sure where is this going, I don't see any progress, and then you start questioning yourself, that's when all, you know, you can crumble, and that's when problem starts. That's why I was thinking it's going to be really interesting to talk overall about confidence. I have some quotes that I found and I really want to share them with you, because I really think they might help you to understand as well confidence, and they helping me as well, you know. Sometimes it's such a simple thing, just reading a quote, and can really put you on the right path again, in the right direction. So let's just talk today, no fashion. Today we're just going to chat as a lady to another lady about confidence and how we can stay on track with our confidence and how we should really believe in ourselves. First quote that I found that I really think it's really important to think about this a little bit more is: confidence isn't about walking into the room and thinking you are better than everyone else. It's walking and not having to compare yourself to anyone at all. And I think this is very important, because the comparison, it's killing our really happiness and it's killing our dreams really. When you start comparing yourself to other people, that's when the worst comes, you know. We all are so different, you know. It doesn't really matter if you're comparing your look, if you're comparing your job, if you're comparing someone who has maybe more money or someone who has less money. Overall, having this kind of attitude of comparing yourself, it's really not good for your mental health. And working towards removing that from yourself, like from thinking about comparing yourself to anyone, that's just going to make you so much more happier, so much healthier, like mentally healthier, and going to build your confidence. So I think it's not about only that you are, obviously this is just a sample walking into the room, you know, but it's about whatever you do in your life. You're going to shop, you're going to work, this is just as well natural thing for human beings to compare ourselves to other, just to give ourselves some kind of like a starting point, and then maybe some kind of like a higher point, and we want to go there, we want to achieve this higher point, and maybe there is someone we know already who have this higher point, and we are like comparing ourselves to that person. That might be just a sample, you know, but overall I think everybody is different. Everybody makes so many different decisions in their life. Some people, they might just look their life is absolutely perfect from like Instagram, or especially now, you know, nowadays it's quite easy to compare ourselves, especially because of Instagram or Facebook. People put pictures on over there that are only representing happy memories, happy like moments. That's most of them tend to do. But the reality is different, you know. Everybody has some kind of problems, everybody is struggling somewhere, and everybody is at some point comparing themselves to someone else. With that, I think in mind, when you're actually stopping comparing yourself and you're accepting, you need to change your thinking from like, okay, this girl, she has a beautiful shoes, I would love to have a shoes like this, I'm not feeling now worth it because she has a better shoes or better bag. But if you're actually going to start thinking this a little bit different, and you're going to just focus that, okay, this girl, she has a lovely shoes, but my shoes are not really not worse than her, my shoes are a little bit different. Maybe in the future I'm going to buy something similar that she has, but is this really my style? Just questioning yourself, it's just going to help you stopping this kind of competition, you know, stopping this kind of comparison to anyone else. Because if someone has something nice, it doesn't really mean that you are less worth it. Or if someone even has a better job, you know, better paid job, it doesn't mean that you are worse than them. No, they just have a different type of, you know, skills, they have a different type of experience, and that's absolutely normal, you know. I know it's easy, very easy to go into this kind of state when you're actually thinking that, okay, something is wrong with me because everybody else is achieving some stuff and I'm not doing maybe enough. Or but the reality is that you need to accept, once you accept that people might have a different things, people might have a things that you really like as well, but don't forget that the things you already maybe have or in your life, you are grateful for them as well, and you are happy with them. Because once you start thinking this way, that okay, this person has that but I have actually this and they don't have that, then it starts making more sense in your life. Your brain start operating different way, and questioning, I think, in this situation is very, very important. Because once you're really realizing that the person who maybe you were comparing yourself for whole life, and now you're starting looking at that person, that, you know, this person maybe just really represent what I want in the future, but this might be a really great example for me to like follow some of the paths she made or he made. But if you wouldn't have anyone like this, then you might as well feel like you're not really putting yourself, like you don't putting high goals enough as well. So it is good to have a people around you who are successful, obviously, even though you're thinking sometimes that they are more successful than you and that's making you feel a little bit worse. Honestly, ask yourself like those questions, that why am I feeling this way? Like, is it because I really like the lifestyle they're living? If that's the case, then what else can I do to maybe achieve this kind of lifestyle? But don't take comparison the wrong way. Don't take it as a, okay, she has that, she has that, he has this kind of amazing car, she has this kind of amazing bag, the amazing shoes, they travel all around the world all the time, you can see them on the Instagram, they have an amazing life. But reality is they have a problem in their relationships. Everybody does, you know, especially if you're a couple, if they have a kids, they have a problem with their kids as well. So it's really normal, you know, and having this kind of a little bit bigger perspective of everything else, it's going to help you, you know, and going to stop your comparison. And you're going to just step, is just about like when you have this kind of moment of actually you want to compare yourself to someone, just stop yourself, like imagine that you're actually stepping back and think about those like basics, that why am I feeling this way? Like, this girl, she has amazing situation in her life, but I don't have a worse situation in my life. It's just completely different. And I think once you realize this thing, this is as a first thing, because comparison, I think it's quite a big one, then you are starting going towards more like self-confidence and being more confident as a woman. Another thing is confidence is an ability to feel beautiful without needing someone to tell you. And that's like so true, you know. Once you feel confident as yourself, as a person, who you are, who you become. Think as well who you were like 10 years ago or 20 years ago, where you are just now. Are you more confident or are you less confident? Why is like, what happened, what changed that maybe you lost your confidence? What changed that you maybe are more confident just now? But actually you don't really need to have anyone to tell you that you are confident. It's about as well like, when you think about this maybe this way, that when you have a friend and you're going all the time out and you have a great time and they telling you, okay, you are so great, you are this, you are that, amazing. But then when you actually stopping, let's say COVID happened, we couldn't go and meet people all the time, and then you don't have anyone, you are sitting at home alone, and you starting feeling lost, like there's no one there to tell you how amazing, how beautiful, or whatever you are. And you shouldn't really need those things. Those things should come from yourself. You should really think that you are a smart woman or a man, you are overall a smart person, you are a beautiful person, like a kind person. You don't really need anyone to tell you that you are that. Sometimes people might tell you as well otherwise, that they think you are not this kind of person, that what you think you are, but you don't really need anyone's opinion, either a good one or a bad one, you know. The same comes with YouTube, you know, like I don't really discover that much yet, because obviously I don't have many followers, so many followers, but a lot of YouTubers who are like reach really high point, they got a lot of like negative comments from other people. And for some it might be really hard. Some of them, they don't really read it at all. They ask their spouses to read them, or like just filter them. Some of them, they remove those comments because they don't want to have a community like this. So overall, everybody is dealing with this different way. But I think through the social media, there might be a lot of, not only YouTube, but through the social media, there might be a lot of people who might express their opinion about you. They don't even know you. They just see what they see, what you're showing them, basically, through those social media channels. And I don't think we should take those things personally. I had some kind of comments that just made me laugh, you know, because, you know, everybody has their own right to the opinion, you know. They might not, I might not agree with them, but it doesn't mean that I need to now say, oh, you're a bad person or something like this. No, it means that sometimes I read something, someone is maybe nasty, sometimes people are just like, they can't express themselves in positive way, and they say something really not nice, but maybe they even didn't thought about that, like they didn't want it to do that this way. But I don't take that as a, you know, as a fact. First of all, you need to think this way, that sometimes people say something, but doesn't mean that it's true, you know, it doesn't mean that it's a fact. It just means this is their perspective about you, or about whatever comment they're writing about. But and that's the first, I think, the key. People, whatever they say, they have a right to do that, and you can't really stop anyone to saying, okay, this detail about something about you, maybe at work, to another co-workers, that, oh, she is not hardworking, she is lazy or something. And obviously you don't want to have an opinion like this at work, but from another point of view, they have a right to think about you whatever they want to, you know. You have a right to think about them whatever you want. You not necessarily need to go and tell them in the face, and they don't necessarily need to go and tell you in the face, but you can't really stop people of thinking. You're never going to please everyone, and that's honestly the biggest lesson we can learn in our life. You're not going to please everyone. You're going to be the sweetest, the smartest, and really lovely person, but there will be someone who is going to be just like completely against you, you know, and it's not your fault. It's something maybe wrong with them. But and this can actually really like damage people's confidence, because we are trying to always find some kind of like support, and we're trying always to have this kind of like a feeling that people accept us, you know. But actually, once you remove this from your life, once you actually accept that people don't need to accept you, that you only need to accept yourself, maybe the closest family, like your kids, your partner, your husband, that's life is going to change for you. Life is going to be so much more sweet, so much more value once you stop taking other people's opinion personally. And that's with the beginning what I said. You don't really need anyone to tell you how you are, how you should feel about yourself. You need to have this from yourself, from deep inside. You know exactly what kind of person you are. You know exactly what kind of values you have. So if someone just sometimes see a little bit piece of you at work, that doesn't mean they know you. They just know you from the work environment, but maybe every day you are completely different, you know. Sometimes at work you might be forced to be a little bit more tough, you're a little bit more like not friendly because of job you are doing. People have a lot of different, you know, job opportunities, but being sometimes maybe not very pleasant at work doesn't mean that you are like this all the time, you know. So honestly, this kind of acceptance of yourself without needing anyone else to tell you or needing anyone else to like you, it's going to really change the game for you. It's going to really boost your confidence. Sorry, something is just going on here. And it's going to really make you feel like you honestly don't need anyone to tell you how to live your life and how to be happy, because honestly, having this kind of separation, putting like a wall between you and people who might not think they know you, might think that they know better than you, they might know that they know better how you should live your life, basically, it's just going to be much more healthier for you again. And that's, I think, what is very important when it comes to mental health and to building your confidence. Another thing which is connected to the things I said before is that confident people don't really need they don't really seek attention, you know. They don't really have this kind of feeling that, okay, now I need to meet everyone every day, or I need to spend so much time with other people because my life is not going to be valued when I'm just myself or like on my own, or I need to do things with other people because I just need this kind of acceptance again. And it's nothing wrong to do things with people. Like, I love to go to the pool with my family, you know, I love this kind of things, but it is about finding obviously the right people, and it's also about knowing that you can spend time on your own as well, and you are okay with that. You are absolutely fine, you are happy with being on your own. And sometimes people forget about this. Sometimes this is what I said again, sometimes we are desperate for this kind of attention, and removing that from your life as well, like going more narrow with the crowd. Let's say you don't really need 100,000 people like friends, going narrow with your friends, choosing people more like selective, choosing people who are just close to your hearts, but they also like understand you, have similar values, you know. Those are going to be the best people for you, you know. You don't really need to spend time with everyone. You don't even, if you have a family, you know, you don't even need to spend time with them if you feel like it's just, you don't really work together, you know. It's normal, people are completely different, and we're not going to, all of us, we're not going to now love and like each other, you know, every single time, you know. So just accepting, you know, accepting again that we don't really need to be we don't need to have this kind of attention all the time. It's going to be better for you, and it's going to grow your confidence. What actually Blake Lively, she said that the most beautiful thing you can wear is confidence, and I think that's so true, especially when we are on the channel of elegant, and I'm trying to talk about elegant style as much as I can. You're never going to be super elevated if you're not going to have this kind of confidence with what you're doing with your life. If you're going to be feeling that, oh, I'm not sure what I'm doing, or should I do this, should I do that, you know, if you're always going to question yourself the way that you not exactly know what you're doing, that's not going to look confident. Even if you're going to wear the most beautiful outfit, people are going to notice your posture, how you speak, you know, what you have to say as well. So let's not forget about this, that one thing is obviously loving fashion, one thing is loving beautiful outfits, beautiful heels, bags, and I could go on and go on. But another thing, to look very elegant as well as a woman, as a lady, you need to be confident. And that's just something that it's not going to change, you know. You need to be confident with your values, you need to be confident with your purpose, with your goals, basically. And you need to be confident that whatever you're doing this to make the more beautiful life for yourself, for your family, for maybe the world. All depends, obviously, what kind of goals you have as well. But the confidence is really a key. one tip that I could give you, like what I feel like, and a lot of people is going to tell you that the best way to like test your confidence, to stretch your confidence, because obviously we need to stretch ourselves from our comfort zone, to go out from our comfort zone, to feel a little bit uncomfortable on the beginning, and that's our comfort zone is going to grow around us again, because once we stretch that comfort zone, we are feeling more confident, you know, we do more things in our life, we just feel like, okay, I've done that, I know maybe it worked out for me, maybe it didn't, but I at least have done that, you know. And a lot of time you can find that the quickest way to gain the confidence is to do exactly what you are afraid of doing. So let's say you confidence, like something maybe extreme. My partner recently, he skydiving. He was skydiving. We were waiting for that quite a while to do that because it was COVID. And he had this kind of being scared of heights, you know, if it's, well, it's, you can't go higher than that when it comes to this kind of activities. So he was skydiving, and he this way pushed himself through the comfort zone of being on the ground, you know, and he's done it, you know, he was petrified at some point, but then it just gives him another perspective about life. And I'm not saying you need to now skydiving or jump from the plane and whatever. I'm talking about everyday life more. If there is something you are scared of, but you know it would help you to build your confidence, maybe it's a joining to the book club. It's something so simple like this, that you're looking for people who are like you, like-minded. You can't really find them anywhere, and then you're thinking, okay, maybe I should join to the book club, but I'm not sure if people are going to accept me again. I'm not sure if I'm able to do that, you know. And then in this situation, you just don't think. The best you can do for yourself, believe me, just go for it, you know. You go there, you're going to meet some people, maybe you're going to like them, maybe you're not going to like them, but you're going to have this experience, you're going to live that, you're going to go through that, and you're going to be like, okay, do you know what, this book like actually wasn't for me, but what I discovered, I actually really like poetry, so maybe I should just join the poetry club. And then you're doing that again, you know, you're going there and you sitting there for maybe a few weeks, maybe for even one session, and you are realizing, you know, no, actually this is completely not for me, or do you know what, this is my thing, those people are so amazing, you know. And this way you're building your experience. So gaining confidence is about building your experience, building, maybe meeting people, if that's something that scares you, or that's something that you really would like to do but you don't really know where to start. The best is join some kind of clubs, just meet people once a week even, you're talking to them, you're discovering yourself as well, how you feel about them, how you feel about yourself talking to people. Sometimes it's just simple thing as that, that even if someone, like I said, you don't really need acceptance but from other people, but sometimes it's just doing something silly, you know. If you're going to make yourself a silly, and people are going to look at you and she's a silly girl, you know, and you don't never need to go back to this book club, for example, but making yourself silly, you are realizing, you know what, I actually don't care what people think about me. Those kind of moments in life are really precious. Even if you're going to make yourself a clown, we all had a moment when we've done something silly in our life, and we've lived through them, we still are here, we are alive, and you know, every single person in this world had some moment that they were not feeling confident, or they've done something that they are not proud of, but it pushed them out of the comfort zone, and they realized, you know what, if I've done something like this, nothing is going to stop me now. So this is very important. If you are somewhere in your maybe workplace and you're feeling like, oh God, I really would like to have a promotion, but I don't know how to ask about this, just go and ask. The worst thing can happen, they're going to say no. So they're going to say, no, do you know what, you are not ready, you are with us, okay, maybe 2 years, but we feel you still need a little bit more to get to this stage of promotion. They say no, and you are feeling, okay, they said to me no, so in that situation, maybe they don't value me enough, maybe they are right and I need to work on something. You can always ask, what should I change to get to that stage that you can give me promotion? Maybe it's a company that they just don't give promotion to anyone, and you feel like, okay, so maybe it's time to move on, you know. And it's honestly nothing bad about this. Asking question at work as well. Even sometimes people like saying you can ask question like this because it will make you silly, you know. But it's better sometimes to look a little bit sillier but still do the job done correct and properly, rather than do something wrong way, you know. Like that's at least my experience. And my opinion, you know. But I think like job-wise, you know, you can always find another job, you know. Sometimes you need to relocate, it's, you know, but there are always some kind of opportunities for you. You just need to be a little bit more flexible. But overall about confidence, I think the best way you can do it when you feel that you're stuck somewhere and you don't really know where to go now and where to like build this more confidence for yourself, just do something that afraid you really. Well, I'm not saying about something like very dangerous, but I'm talking about more like a natural thing. If you feel like you need more friends, or if you want to change a job and you're like feeling like, but what if I'm going somewhere else, it's not going to be worse, you know. It might be worse for a moment, or might be absolutely amazing. And now the worst what you can do, what actually Mark Twain said, in 20 years you will be more disappointed by what you didn't do than what you did, even if something wasn't really a great experience. And that's like so true, you know. You don't regret things that you've done so much, but you regret things that you didn't do at all, you know. And sometimes we are in the state of mind that we feel like, even like living in a relationship, we are not confident to leave someone because we were with them for years, but deep down inside we feel they are not our person, you know. And you missing, maybe you're missing an opportunity to find someone who is your person, you know. And I feel like for me this was always a good thing to like move on from relationship, because I knew that if I'm going to stay with someone who doesn't really like treat me the right way, like treat me that I feel like I deserve to be treated, then I'm missing out on someone who might be absolutely lovely for me, you know. And if I would stay in a relationship with someone like in, don't know, high school, then, you know, I would never leave Poland, I would never came to Scotland, which is absolutely wonderful, you know, and never meet my partner. So think about this kind of as well bigger perspective that gives us opportunity to grow our mind and go out of our comfort zone as well from like mind perspective, because we all need to, you know, sometimes sacrifice something to get better, you know. And I know the relationships can be really hard for people to like drop it and move on, but sometimes you might say to your partner, listen, if we can't change that, then we are both struggling and we both might have just realistically both have a better chance to be happy with someone else, you know. That's it. Sometimes women are struggling to leave partner who is abusing them, you know, because they don't feel confident. That's another really bad thing, you know. And building this kind of confidence, especially if you have a children, you don't work, don't have a savings, you know, you are very like scared what's going to happen if I'm going to leave someone who provide for me but is really bad for me. And I would say in a situation like this, obviously it is very hard, you know, but I feel like you need to think as well, especially if you have a kids, you need to give to your children safety. If you can't give to your children safety, that's where you start failing, for me as a parent, you know, because you don't necessarily need to have a lot of money, you not necessarily maybe need to like give them everything what they had before. It might be struggle on the beginning, but safety, if your child is not feeling safe in their own home, in their own bed, that's just like the worst feeling ever, you know. And I'm telling you this from perspective where my father actually was drinking quite a lot, and my mom, she was scared to leave him because she was thinking like what she's going to do. And I would be much more happier if she would leave him much long time ago, rather than what we went through our life, you know. And so that's why I'm telling you about this, because not to share you, I don't know, some kind of bad things, but we all went through something, you know. And that's a beautiful thing, because that teaches us something. But from that perspective, I can tell you that if you are somewhere stuck in a really bad situation, just sometimes starting from zero, it doesn't matter what kind of age you have, it doesn't really matter, but starting sometimes from zero is much better, even starting in different country, you know, just to feel like again more open, maybe more safe, to be really far away from someone who, I don't know, abuse you. Then I think it's much better to start from zero than stuck somewhere who really makes you unhappy. At the end, I just want to say, like, go through everything I said before, to be more confident. Stop comparing yourself and stay like focused on you, because you are the most important person in your life, really. You can obviously have a children, you can have a partner, you really love them, and that's like really normal, but making yourself happy is going to make your kids and your partner as well happy. If you're going to be unhappy and like miserable, they're not going to feel really confident about their life as well. So that's why I'm saying it's staying focused on you and making the life beautiful for you as well. It's very important. Another thing is relax a little bit. You don't need to be confident in 1 hour, you don't need to be confident like this next day. Building slowly, going with flow. This is a process, you know. Going a little bit more like adventurous as well, what I said on the end, that doing things that maybe scared you, those are going to be really helpful to build your confidence. And stress a little bit less about things, you know, because honestly, this stress what you have now, you're not going to remember about the stress in 10 years time. I think very important is remember to love yourself. You are a gift, you know. God gave you to this world, and without you the world wouldn't be the same, you know. Sometimes we don't think this way, but you are loved. There's some people who love you and you are a worth to them as well. So don't forget that and find this kind of light inside you. Or if you feel like there's not enough people who like you don't bring enough to the world, like then find those people, you know. Like I'm saying, it's joining some kind of clubs, maybe going as a voluntary, helping people, people sick, you know, in hospital, you know. There's always some kind of need when it comes to free job as well, free like voluntary stuff, and this might as well help you to like being more happy with yourself, giving something for free to the community. And the last thing, I think the most like nice thing is just being positive about all this process, building your confidence, because you're going to get there, you know. You one day going to be so confident that you're going to say to someone else who you're going to meet in your life, and they might not going to be confident, and you're going to tell them, listen, you're going to see everything is going to work out. You just need to do this, this and that, and you're going to see your life is going to be so much better. You're going to improve your life so much more, because being confident, accepting yourself, not necessarily thinking what other people think and not taking their perspective as a fact, are going to really help you build your confidence and going to help you create a really lovely life that you always deserved and you always dream about. On this note, I want to finish this video because it might be really long. I'm not even sure if you're going to like this type of video, like talking, chatting, but I think this is quite important to talk about, because it's not only about obviously clothes, this is something that we like to do, talk, buy, but the most important things are in our head, really, how to be like confident, how to be happy, you know. And I think I'm going to do this kind of episode once a while to, maybe it's going to help someone, and I hope it's going to, but I just want you to remember that you are loved and you are an amazing person, so never stop believing in that, and it's going to be okay. Whatever you are in your life just now, everything is going to work out. You just need to push forward, move forward, and sometimes we're not always motivated. Sometimes we lose our motivation, but we need to stay disciplined. So if you're going to stay disciplined, even if you don't want to do something today, but you feel like, okay, if I want to achieve this, be confident lady, I need to practice that, then it's going to help you as well, you know. So on that lovely ending, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave it a thumbs up, because it's really supporting my channel, and see you in the next video.